Our lead story, President Obama and the leadership factor in the context of the shaky economy. Joining us now from Philadelphia, Dr. Marc Lamont Hill, who teaches at Columbia University. So, doctor, as a liberal man, liberal thinker, are you concerned about the economy, the falling stock market today? Does it bother you?
Yeah, it bothers me as an American. It bothers me as a left-wing person. I think everyone who sees a sharp collapse today and what's been going on for the last 6 months has to be concerned.
All right. Do you agree with Stuart Varney and me that the lack of leadership the Obama administration is showing on the economy has pretty much shaken people? They don't have a lot of confidence in him anymore.
Well, I think when you look at the approval ratings in Congress, when you look at the approval ratings of the White House, I think people have a lack of confidence in the American political system. It's not just Obama. People don't believe.
But he's the point, man. You know that. And that's not wrong, by the way. The polls show lack of confidence in Congress is at historic lows. That's correct. But
Right.
He's the guy. He's the face to the world. You remember, this is a global economy now.
Yeah.
People overseas buy American stocks and bonds. And I submit to you that they have no confidence. The mass majority of investors are not confident in the Obama administration's economic leadership. Would you agree?
No, I wouldn't agree with that. I think what we see today in terms of today's crash has much more to do with European markets and their own issues than it does with Obama's leadership. But I will agree that people who do have some concerns about Barack Obama's economic leadership, but not to the extent that you're suggesting. If anything, after yesterday's debt deal, people should have full confidence that he's willing to cave to corporate America, that he's willing to cave to Wall Street. Barack Obama has fully shifted himself to campaign mode, which means he's playing from the center and maybe even the right. So if you're a Republican, you should feel very happy with his economic policy.
All right, the far left, and you're among them, don't like the quote-unquote cave. But let's get back to the perception. President Obama, and you know this, wants to model the American economy and the American social justice system on.
I love how you say that with disdain. Social justice.
I don't think it's healthy for most Americans to use the economic machine to redistribute wealth. I just don't think it's healthy. And I know it's not working, and obviously the facts speak for themselves. But he wants to model on what Western Europe has done, yet now we see country after country after country collapsing economically, and you would think that Barack Obama would notice that and say, you know, maybe it's not the good thing to do.
I don't accept the premise that he's trying to model the American economic system after, say, Eastern Europe or something like that. You know, he's not trying to create
Western Europe.
I don't think he's trying to create any type of European model. I think he's trying to create a uniquely American model. And one of the things that America has always done is protect the vulnerable. That's why it's so disturbing that in the last week he's been willing to put Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid on the table for negotiation. Fortunately, the so-called far left was willing to protect and defend it when the president himself
Well, I don't think it was ever in any danger. They want to modify those things to make them, to salvage them.
Yeah,
okay,
modify. That's secret agent talk for changing.
Did you see my talking points memo last night?
I did.
Okay, it was brilliant. I mean, even you would have given me an A in your class at Columbia University. I basically took a little model out of Obamacare, giving American women free birth control, breastfeeding, counseling, all this stuff free, which is going to cost billions of dollars to the private insurance companies, who are going to pass that along to private insurers like me and businesses, who in turn will hire fewer people because of the expense of that pass along. Therefore, unemployment goes down. You don't see the linkage between the social justice programs and the poor economy, and I think I've made it vividly clear.
Bill, no one disagrees on the left or the right that there is a point beyond which people will stop creating and expanding jobs. We all agree with that.
And we've reached that point.
No.
It's here.
But where we disagree with is the threshold. Whenever people threaten to raise taxes 1 cent, whenever people try to, God forbid, protect the one vulnerable person, rich people cry wolf and say, oh, my God, the entire economy is going to collapse. The economy hasn't collapsed because of social entitlement. It's collapsed because of corporate irresponsibility during the Bush administration, which has continued during the Obama administration.
That began the chain of events.
Yes.
And you're right, the corporate three-card Monte game of these terrible mortgages began. But then the president got into office and made it worse because he was fiscally irresponsible, spent far too much money, and had no clue how to help the private sector rebuild and hire more people.
I
Those are
disagree.
facts. facts.
I
They're
disagree.
Facts.
They're not. Just because you say facts really emphatically doesn't make them facts. What's a fact is that Obama has come up with a very clear plan for helping the economy. The problem is,
But it's not working. That's the problem.
No, but because
not working.
He's never had the opportunity to execute his plan because he's always caving to the right. Now, I'm not saying that's not a critique of him, but it's poor leadership. But at the end of the day,
we have a Congress in this country. It's not just a dictatorship.
No,
his vision.
He has not
spending,
negotiated effectively with Congress.
Well, look, he spent more than any other president in office. We're running up a tune of $4 billion plus a day, and it isn't working. That's the fact, Jack. But I'm not calling you Jack, Doctor. We appreciate you coming on in here.
Appreciate it.
Next on the rundown.